Folks, we learned that there is a protest here at GECOM, and we've come to see what's happening. This is GECOM, the presiding officer's headquarters here. We heard there was a protest, and we've come to see what's the happenings here. We've seen some of there's an ambulance that's here. We want to get a sense of what's happening. Workers all on the outside. This is GECOM. We heard there's an ambulance here, trying to get a sense of what's happening. We at the ground. There's GECOM. They said this is the presiding officers for Georgetown, the headquarters. And we heard there are people vomiting here and all manner of things. We're trying to get a look at that. There's an ambulance here. It's just after midnight. You might be seeing this a few minutes later. And there are folks in the compound here just waiting. Have you guys been able to hand in your documents? Have you guys been able to hand in your documentation? What is happening?
Apparently, everybody from all the polling stations got cut for any district. It used to be that the DRO used to come down, so you would get like significantly less persons here. So, if a school, for instance, got like 10 polling stations, all 10 persons got come down and result in a choke here. And apparently, they didn't cater for the persons. So you have everybody there in inhumane conditions because everybody breathing. They ain't got proper ventilation. One way in, one way out. Some people trying to jump down. Got like 2 people to block out. We see a girl block out in the corner there. Father had to come and pick she up. Even down to the GECOM officials didn't even come and pick she up. She
wow.
Home. So
she's gone home or to the hospital?
Her father come pick she up. So my best guess, either he can carry her to the hospital or home. I don't know.
Thanks very much, folks. We did get a call. There was protest action happening here, and what the folks are saying that the Critchlow Labour College has presented a choke point, since there's a lot of folks getting here. There is the ambulance right there. We see the ambulance on that side. The guy's person's fainted here as well. Ma'am, you want to give us a quick comment? Lots of folks in the compound at GECOM here, even on the outside, just standing around. A lot of folks here just standing around on the outside there. Hardly any security here at all. Hardly any security here at all. I didn't see any police as I came in here. But the folks see a lot of confusion here. And this is some what we're seeing. All right, folks, we got a sense of some of the things happening on this side. Look, we have a staff coming down here. A staff coming down on this side. There we have a GECOM staff coming down, receiving oxygen. Receiving oxygen. And that's some of what they're telling us is happening here. Quite a few staff took ill. As you heard the gentleman say, inhumane conditions are some of what they're saying. And this is just some of what we're seeing. A staff being helped into the ambulance. Some of what we're seeing there. Just some of what we're seeing there. Just some of what we're seeing there, folks. An ambulance is here. At GECOM, the folks says a lot of stuff happening on the upstairs. A lot of the staff here just kind of milling around, not doing anything in particular. I don't know, they said they were waiting hours to hand in documents. That's one of the concern here. Staff have been waiting for hours to hand in documentation. The guy said folks were jumping through the windows, all manner of things. some of the staff leaving. This is total confusion. One of the GECOM staff there. One of the GECOM staff there. I do hear a police vehicle. Another ambulance is coming in. Another ambulance is coming in. Another ambulance is coming in. Another ambulance is coming in here. Another ambulance is coming in here. Folks describe it as confusion. They said folks were jumping through the windows. That's some of what folks were telling us, that folks were jumping through the windows. Medical staff themselves just sandwiched between the two vehicles there, and they're heading upstairs. Folks, how many folks have fainted on the upstairs? All right. I don't want to be blamed for anything personally, so I'm keeping my distance. I don't want to be blamed for anything. We heard there were folks passing out here. The gentleman just told us folks were kind of jumping through windows here at GECOM. All manner of things, and this is just some of what we're seeing here. There are now 2 ambulances outside here. There are now 2 ambulances outside here at GECOM. And we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. Lots of what is perhaps GECOM staff just on the outside here, just waiting around. Don't know why. Initially they said GECOM staff have been waiting here for hours to hand in documents. For hours. There are now 2 ambulances outside here. There are now 2 ambulances outside here. As we said, folks, we got lots of folks who are just waiting around the compound here. They told us that this is the Critchlow Labour College, where presiding officers for Georgetown are headquartered, and some came in to hand in the documentation, and they have been waiting for hours. Staff just said a lot of inhumane treatment happening here. 2 ambulances. Paramedics are coming back down. Paramedics are coming back down. Paramedics are coming back down. And this is what's happening here. Folks, we're in Wolford Avenue. And this is some of what we're seeing. We're kind of keeping our distance too, because the folks are going to try to get anybody for blame for this kind of confusion that's happening here. It's election night, it's election morning, well, post-election night, because I think it's officially Tuesday morning. It's the morning after the night before. We did see some information on social media that there was protests here at GECOM, and we came down to try to get a sense. Commissioner Alexander, could you tell us what's happening here?
Well, we have a situation where I think that the system for the receipt is not an efficient system, because initially the RO apparently was instructed that the RO should be the recipient of every statement of code. Now, if you have 351 polling stations, with the RO being the singular recipient, you can understand that that has induced chaos. I have intervened. There has been some response to my intervention. The number of persons have moved from 1 to 5, but it's still slow, still tedious, and you still have a significant number of persons awaiting to be dealt with.
Commissioner, you were holding your neck. I couldn't escape that. Are you yourself feeling well?
I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty okay. Obviously tired. And therefore I can empathize with those people because like them, we have been up from about 3 this morning and it's almost 3 again. So these people are on what may be considered a 24-hour shift.
Commissioner Alexander, have you ever seen this in the recent past?
No, this has not happened before. You know, people normally say leave well alone. But there's a tendency by some people to think that those before them didn't do a good job, but they can do a better job. But what we have here is an attempt to say you're doing a better job, induce chaos.
How many persons do you estimate have fallen ill?
I've seen 2. I've seen 2 who have fallen ill.
We were made to understand that some folks have been... Hold on a sec for us, Commissioner. Folks, we're getting some action. We want to talk with Commissioner Alexander back in a second, but another one of the staff, GECOM staff, coming down, and so we wanted to get some of that and not be in the way either. Sorry, we had to break transmission there with Commissioner Alexander, but that's the GECOM staff coming down. Another GECOM staff, one of 2 indeed we've seen thus far since we're here. One of 2 we've seen thus far. There's another GECOM staff. That looks like an oxygen tank to us, but of course we're not medical professionals. But that looks like an oxygen tank. Staff there receiving oxygen. We're going to back up a little bit. Commissioner Alexander, if you can come right here, we'll be very grateful. The question I was going to ask we were made to understand that earlier there was real pandemonium here. People were jumping through windows and all of that. Talk to us about that.
But there was, one can say there was pandemonium. For example, I couldn't easily get into the area that I wanted to get into as a commissioner because it was simply crowded, and once I attempted to pass, then people were rushing to use that opportunity to themselves to get into the line to submit. So it was really a chaotic situation.
This was just brought to GECOM's attention, and what systems have been put in place since?
I called the CEO myself, and he spoke to the RO. I suggested that they should put in place at least 15 VROs to deal with the situation. He said the RO responded and said the most he can accommodate is 10. I don't think they're up to 10 as yet, but they moved from the one that was previously doing the work to about 5.
Commissioner Alexander, how much more time would you think the presiding officers have at this location?
Well, a lot of time, because I can't say how many persons have come so far, because the total numbers I understand should be about 351.
And this is just for Georgetown or wider areas?
This is Georgetown polling stations.
You said early on, leave well alone. Could you explicate on that for us?
In the past, we did not have all of the polling stations reporting directly to the returning officer. What we had was a number of deputy returning officers. And so, for example, you could have one deputy returning officer for each constituency. And therefore, the polling clerks, the presiding officers will report to the VRO for the constituency, which meant that there would be 15 persons to whom a report is made, and in 15 different places. There then, those 15 persons will then report to the RO. That is not what has pertained on this occasion. They have dismantled that mechanism, and all the POs are required to report to the RO, which means a number of things. It means they have to cover distance. So whether you're from Agricola or Cummins Lodge, you got to come to Critchlow. It means that all of them are coming to report to one person. That is a question of space. It's a question of time.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Latin. Folks, that is the situation here at this hour. There are, I would say, hundreds of GECOM staff at this location. And those are the ambulances leaving there. And that's the information we have at this hour. Some police are on the upstairs there. Let me see if we can bring it a little closer. And that is some senior police officers on the upstairs there, no doubt comparing notes. And if we can show you on the ground floor, a throng of folks on that step there. And then if we follow back on the upstairs, we can see people lining the corridors. Again, we are at the Critchlow Labour College, and there are staff lining the corridor upstairs there. And where we are on the outside, there are a number of staff. A number of staff on the outside here as well. A number of staff on the outside here as well. A number of staff on the outside there. All right, folks, we're going to leave it there for now. And we're going to let you guys know if any other information comes our way, to be sure to share it with you. Thanks for joining us for this update. Be said. All right, we're going to leave it there, folks. We're going to leave it there. Thanks for joining us again.